Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fear Assembly. We're going to talk about a lot of horror films and some great things on TV, and we're going to get into various topics, including independent films with the breakouts of Obsession, Backrooms, and many others. And we're going to get into some subgenres and hopefully make some recommendations for you that you can check out tonight and this weekend. So, with that said, Chuck, Jordan, Cody, how are you guys doing today?
Doing
Good.
good.
What's up?
Fantastic.
All right. Have you guys seen anything fun lately that's not necessarily in the mainstream?
Hokum.
Did you like
like
it?
Right.
I liked it. I think I gotta watch it again. You guys, we talked about folk horror last time, and I love folk horror, and I was so worried I was gonna get spoiled because all of y'all had seen it. So I watched it last week, really liked it, and I will say, I think we discussed Adam Scott like not being able to carry a movie. He did. I think he did. I think he carried
Oh,
it.
no,
I will say, I think he did an excellent job.
He carries the movie for sure. He's great in it, but like he didn't sell seats for it because it only did $9 million at the box office. So
Sure, yeah, but he did carry the movie. I
No.
feel like people underestimate his capability. He was excellent, and it made me dislike him, and that's always
He
a
was
sign
a
of a good
dick, right?
actor.
He was a jerk.
Yeah,
The character?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yes.
such a jerk. Yeah.
It was interesting to have a character like that where they don't try to fully like about face his character or like do a full redemption arc at the end of it. Like if he's fully like a dickhead at the beginning of the movie, by the end he takes like one step forward to be a not such a dickhead, but it's
Yeah.
not like a full like, oh, he's a great person now. So that was interesting.
Yeah, but
Well,
they give you enough in there to kind of understand like his trauma and stuff of what might make him jaded to the world or whatever. So like I wouldn't say he's justified.
Are you defending dickheads,
No,
Chuck?
I don't know if he's like a justified dickhead, but like, you know, I mean, I'm like, I might be a little bit, you know, jaded as well.
Mhm.
He plays that good because he has like that cold. Adam Scott has like that. He can be very animated, but he also can go cold. You know what I mean? He does a lot of that in Severance. He just has like that cold stare that's like engaging and not boring, which is like he has like resting bitch face for life, basically.
I think that comes from his comedy background. Like even in
Mhm.
Step Brothers, where he's like the douchebag brother, it's just that
Yeah.
natural, like I can play very sarcastic and very unlikable in a charming way. And he just
Yeah.
kind of like tones down the comedy and puts more of like a serious tone to it.
The fucking Catalina wine mixer.
There you go.
I think it's the improv training. You know, improv actors always end up being able to do both drama and comedy because they are essentially one and the same. It takes a very specific level of intelligence to make something funny.
For sure.
So I think he has a natural talent for not just like acting, of course, but for comedy drama, like for being able to do both. And I think that's super impressive. But I really liked the movie. I was not expecting that from the movie. I didn't really know what I was expecting. We were like, is this a paranormal? Is this like a murder mystery? Oh, it's both. Like it was just
Right.
like it came out of nowhere and everything just kept adding up and building. And I love that type of atmospheric horror where like the entire time and also going back to the fact that he was dislikable, I love them putting like terrible characters into movies like this that are atmospheric because it makes you not want to root for them as much, sort of. So then it gives you that pretense of like, is this guy gonna die? Are they
Right.
making him like a bad guy so that I don't care when he dies? You know, like horror is done in such a cool way where they sort of braid in all these different things and try and throw red herrings. And I really enjoyed that movie. I definitely have to watch it again.
Now, go ahead, Chuck.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask the question: if it wasn't Adam Scott playing that character, would that have changed your opinion to go and see it the way that you did? Like if it was somebody that was not well known, the way that Obsession.
I love Adam Scott.
Purposely,
No,
yeah.
I love Adam Scott. So like I had no issue with me. But I was talking whenever we had the discussion before on previous episode, we were talking about like, does he have the star power to sell seats for a horror movie? And I say no. Like he's big enough, you know what I mean? Like I just don't know if I don't even know if people being in horror movies sells horror movies. I mean, Nicolas Cage sold Long Legs with, you know, $20 million worth of marketing, but I just don't know if it's like people are like, I can't wait for the next Adam Scott horror movie.
I
Is
don't
all
think
I'm
any
saying.
actor sells movies anymore. I think it's all down to the marketing. It's down to the word of mouth. It's down to whether the subject really interests people. IP, of course, if you're more into the blockbuster stuff. But I don't really think there's any actor who you can put him in any movie and they're going to sell tickets anymore. I think that era is just done. Directors kind of fill that role more often nowadays, which is interesting.
Oh, I agree
Like,
with
you know,
that. I
Yeah,
agree with that for
direct
sure. It's directors. I would
people
have
Yeah,
watched
use
Hokum regardless of who was starring in that role.
same.
Just to be clear, I would have
Me
watched
too.
it no matter what.
Mhm.
I like the idea. I'll watch any folk horror, you know.
Mhm.
So whether it was him or not, like I don't know. I can't even think of anybody else that would be good for that role. I'm sure there's loads, but I would have watched it either way.
Yeah. Well, to that point, I mean, when I saw it at South by Southwest, I mean, nobody was like, "Oh my God, the new Adam Scott movie." It was like, "Oh, the new Damian McCarthy movie." He was
Yes.
the selling point for those that were really interested and heard about it early
Of
on. And
course.
I think it's a interesting shift that we're living in. Where back in the day, whenever I was growing up, and even decades previous, it was the star. It was the big name on top of the poster. It was the Will Smith movie. That was what you were going to see. It didn't matter what he was doing. It was Will Smith on screen. Nowadays, it's like Christopher Nolan sells the movie. Even something like Oppenheimer that makes no sense, honestly, that it's like an almost $1 billion film, but his name carries so much weight. Plus the Barbenheimer thing added in there. It's an interesting time that we're living in where the filmmakers are the stars or the IP is the star and the actors are almost interchangeable.
Yeah.
I think that. I mean, I think that's fair. I think there's still a few left. Like I think Hugh Jackman sells seats. There's certain. I think there's certain people, but it's not like back in the day, 20, even 15 years ago when it was like, Robert Downey Jr. or whatever. It was more about Marvel than Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean? Like, but hopefully, like things like McConaughey still sells seats because like Rivals of Amziah King is going to need that star power to sell the seats for that movie because it's such a weird fucking movie.
Mhm.
So hopefully he's still a big enough draw, for that. But yeah, I tend to agree with that as well.
I
But
think there
I
are
mean,
actors that don't sell seats. I think there are actors that they put in roles that will harm the movie for sure.
Jared Leto.
Whether or not
yeah, for real, yeah.
there are, I don't want to say, I don't want to say
No,
any.
go
You
Alright.
guys
ahead,
can
go
if
ahead.
you want to, but there
Hey,
are
you
definitely a
brought up the
few where like,
topic.
oh, he's
You
in it.
gotta
I'm not
drop a
seeing
little
that.
tea.
Right.
Alright.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Oh,
you don't
Jared
think,
Leto easily.
Yeah,
Tom
of course,
Cruise
yeah.
you don't think Tom Cruise, helps sell a lot of seats? You don't think that there's an audience that wants to see him do all the
I mean, you
I
crazy
can
don't
look at
think people
stunts?
don't go see movies because of Tom Cruise. I
Yeah,
think people don't go see movies because of Jared Leto.
yeah, but Mission Impossible
Mhm.
bombed.
the
I
last
think that's
two.
because people are tired of seeing Tom Cruise produce and star in his own movies where it's just a giant jerkle circ about Tom Cruise. Like people are, you know what I mean? He's like
I mean,
pushing 70, Tom. Like you're not.
Top Gun Maverick made $1 billion.
I think what happened with the last two Mission Impossibles, I mean, first of all, their budget got extrapolated significantly because of COVID. I mean, there was a point where the first, what was going to be the first half of Dead Reckoning and ended up just being called Dead Reckoning was the only movie currently in production. And that's where you got that that viral
Yeah.
rant where he was just losing his mind on the crew because they were going to end up getting the movie shut down. He's like, all of Hollywood's looking at us. So I think what happened with those last two was inflated budget for one, which has made it almost impossible to be profitable.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
think when you're coming to the point where you're like in your 8th and 9th movie or maybe 7th and 8th film in your franchise, there's a lot of younger moviegoers that look at it as
Sure.
homework where
Yeah.
they're like, oh man, do I have to watch all 7 of these before I go
Catch
watch
up.
the new one? And I think part 1 hurt the first one a lot too, where people look at it and they're like, oh, like they're like almost turned off from the investment.
See, nobody wanted to go to
Mhm.
the second episode.
Yeah. But they were both great. I mean, the second one had its issues for sure. I guess the final one had its issues, but the two like big standout sequences, it was like that's why Tom Cruise gets paid, but Tom Cruise gets paid because nobody's doing this shit.
The only
I know he
movies that
broke his leg on that one, didn't he?
yeah, I
That
think
was
so.
Fallout.
It was Fallout,
Oh.
yeah. The only listen, I don't think Tom Cruise is like I don't care about what he does in his personal life. Like I don't think that I don't know nothing about him and I'm not going to get into that. Like I think he's like kind of a weirdo. But Tom Cruise sells seats for me. I'm going to see because I think that when it's all said and done, when his career's all said and done, his filmography is nothing but bangers.
People are already freaking out about this.
The Digger movie.
The Digger. It's Inarritu, right?
Yeah, it's
Or
yeah,
Inarritu.
it's Inarritu. Yeah, I don't know how
Yeah,
to say his name.
yeah. So people are already buzzing about that just because it's like Tom Cruise was in like his, huge blockbuster era where we're going to do Top Gun Maverick. We're going to do these two monstrous Mission Impossible films. And now we're going to do a really weird indie artsy type film that people are already like, is this going to be his Oscar winner? Who knows? I know nothing about the movie, but
I think my favorite fact about Tom Cruise is the fact that Christian Bale pretended to be him for American Psycho.
It's
I
true.
love
I never heard that, but I could
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
that's
that.
true. So he played that part as if it was Tom Cruise, and I will say Tom Cruise is an incredible actor. I don't want to get the backlash
Yeah,
here. Like
yeah.
he's an incredible actor. What what I will say is that his role in Tropic Thunder, I
Oh,
feel like is really him.
Maybe.
You
maybe.
feel me? I think that's the closest we've ever seen to Tom Cruise not acting. And I mean that. That's how I feel. Like when I see him, when I heard about Christian Bale,
Mhm.
like, oh, he pretended to be Tom Cruise for American Psycho. And then we saw that crazy, like, he's like this crazy producer, in Tropic Thunder, like dancing. That is what I feel like Tom is like an
Yeah.
amalgamation between American Psycho and Tropic Thunder Tom Cruise. I feel like in there somewhere is the real Tom.
I mean, that's
Feel me?
possible. I was really shocked whenever they flew out all the people, like, I had a couple friends that got to go, like, to the Mission Impossible set, like, they, like, got to go and meet him and walk through and see all the shit get shot and everything, and every single one of them had the same thing to say. They were, like, surprised at how nice he was, um, which is weird, but he could be acting, you know what I mean? Like, he has yeah, I mean, it's a public it's the news, you know what I mean? So I guess he has to. I don't know if anybody will really know. He makes good movies.
I think he learned his lesson from the 2000s as well. Like I just watched the Scary Movies, and the fourth one has this whole bit that's riffing on his little Oprah couch jumping moment. So I
Oh,
think he
yeah.
learned his
They
lesson
used to
from
shred Tom Cruise on the regular, yeah.
yeah, for like that mid 2000, right around the time Mission Impossible 3 came out. There was a lot of weird stuff. I think now he's like, okay, I'm just going to shut up and make movies and just absolutely kick ass at what I do. And
I will say, since I know we were talking about vampires, I will say, because I'm literally jumping at any opportunity to bring this up, guys. Tom Cruise in Interview with a Vampire,
Amazing.
he killed that role.
oh yeah,
And
did.
playing Lestat de
Mhm.
Liancourt is not an easy role to play, especially for someone who's like 5'7". He's real short with brown hair. Lestat's tall. He's blonde, blue eyes. Like his description in the books are the complete opposite of Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise still bodied that role.
No, he
Mhm.
did.
It's not easy to play a gay vampire. He killed it.
No, he did. He killed it. He also killed it as Jack Reacher, and he's tiny for that role too. And I think he's every bit as good or better than Alan Ritchson was in the series.
ooh,
He was.
smoking hot take.
I love the first Jack Reacher movie with Tom Cruise. It's so good.
It's solid.
Yeah. Ritchson's a beast. I mean, it's a bit. I'm saying it's
Yeah.
just for a 5'1" fucking little skinny twerpy dude. He's fucking good. I wonder do you think he'll ever come back to horror?
I think it depends on how Digger does, because I think he's at that point in his career where he's really starting to bring some of his franchises back. Of course, Top Gun's getting another movie. Who knows if we've really put the pin in Mission Impossible or not. It ended in a way where that could be the end, or that could be just a pause point. And then I think he's doing a Days of Thunder sequel as well. So it feels like he's in that time where he's like, let me bring back some of my franchises and hit at the box office and do what I think the theaters need. And in between, I'll do some interesting stuff just for my own satisfaction. So Digger clearly is a passion project type thing.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually he'll do a horror film, or who knows. Yeah, I'd love to see it.
But I also think it's cool, even though I'm not naive. I think he does it for himself. Like he made Top Gun Maverick for himself. But through revisiting those franchises and things, he's kind of passing the torch a little bit to some new people to get some shine. Because
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that like benefited off of being in, like Top Gun Maverick. That was huge for everybody in.
Powell,
Yeah,
Miles
fuck yeah.
Teller.
I mean, it was the Glenn Powell revolution started from Top Gun Maverick. Like that dude landed mad roles from that. Not that he wasn't talented or needed it, but you can't say it fucking didn't help.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which I think is cool for them to do that. You know what I mean? Like even like how Stallone, who I'm not a fan of neither, like I love his movies, but doing the Creed stuff, like it was huge for Michael B. Jordan. You know what I mean? Like to take over an iconic role like that helped his career tremendously.
Mhm.
Glenn Powell was good in Twisters, even though the movie wasn't that good.
I actually like Twisters more than I like Twister. Twisters to me had a little bit more to chew on with the story, had a little bit more fun along the way. So yeah, that was one where like I wouldn't say it's like a monumental leap, but overall I did enjoy that one more.
Yeah, it's fair. I guess it's more accessible with the times than like because Twister was like one of those like Pierce Brosnan fucking epic disaster movies. We got a ton
Dante's
of them.
Peak.
Yeah, Dante's Peak, and there were so many of them. You know what I mean? At the same time they came out.
Yeah,
Like
there
that.
was a lot of that disaster movie thing was a big thing for a while there. Like Roland Emmerich, who I love for The Patriot, like the one movie that doesn't really fit into his filmography so much, and Universal Soldier. Almost everything else that he's done is like some version of the world ending. It kind of
Oh, for
became like
sure.
his whole niche.
There was tons of them. And then there was all like the little B movie mock-ups, you know what I mean, of the same thing. There were, you know, Dante's Peak, and there was the Tommy Lee Jones one. There was a bunch of
Volcano.
them. Yeah, Volcano. That's what was Volcano. I haven't seen, maybe I'll watch Volcano tonight. I haven't seen it in forever.
You got to do double feature. You got to do
Yeah.
Dante's Peak and then
Yeah,
Volcano.
that's amazing. It
Then you
probably
could fill it
hasn't
up with like
aged.
Wyatt Earp and Tombstone. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Wyatt Earp's good, man.
hmm
It's not Tombstone, though.
Yeah. It's just
sure.
funny how many times we've had like two completely separate productions land in the same year where it's like, this is kind of the same movie.
Yeah.
What we
I
have,
feel
what
like
was
there
it?
were so many at the same time. Like when I was growing up, it was like Independence Day, Armageddon.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, it
like they
was.
all happened within like a 5-year span. It was just like disaster movie after disaster movie. And like for me, like I'm gonna be honest, that is like my least favorite category is like a disaster movie.
I'm with
Because
you.
I'm like,
It's
I don't
close.
need to watch something that I'm already afraid of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I
Simpson,
like horror, because it's like stuff usually that doesn't really happen. I mean, of
Mhm.
course, like slashers and stuff like that, but it's like ghosts and demons and things like that that like aren't real, or you know, like I'll watch that all day, but I don't want to watch about a meteor. Like that's a real concern.
I like the end of it. I like movies after it happened. Like I don't necessarily like watching them about the event that's going to happen, but I'll take post-apocalyptic anything. Like
Oh,
anything that's dealing.
post-apocalyptic,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll take that any day of the week. Like I don't need to see it all the way up to it. But like Bruckheimer and Don Simpson boy, did they have an epic run like during the disaster, because there was the disaster movies, and then there was Bruckheimer, Simpson, big, huge fucking action movies all at the same time. And the 90s were crazy.
hmm For
I honestly, and I don't know whether I'm jaded because I was there, and I feel like it's our biggest flex right now, especially with the younger generations, is like being there for the 90s. But 90s movies, man, they were just so peak. I feel like at the time, culturally, socially, and also like with the technology we had some of the best movies in the 90s. And I rewatched loads of them all the time where I'm just like, man, they don't make movies like this anymore.
yeah,
Practical effects, but with like the right type of technology. It's just great stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean you could pick out something good out of every era. Obviously, I grew up in the 90s, so I love them. I'm a 2000s guy. I love the 2000, like especially for horror. I think 2000 horror is peak horror. I think it's the best decade of horror since I would do 80s and 2000s would be my two flavors probably if I had to pick.
interesting. Yeah, the
All right.
2000s
Yeah,
was.
I can agree with 80s and 2000s for horror. I feel like 90s was kind of more so like action stuff like that. Like, but I mean, of course, they're spread in there throughout everything. But I would agree with that. 80s and 2000s.
Cody?
I was gonna say the 2000s were interesting because you had like the remake craze, plus you had, you know, found footage really took off after Blair Witch, and then of course then you got into like Saw and Hostel and like what they dubbed torture porn. It was like all three of those were booming at the same time.
70s would
didn't
like
The
a word
Ring-
with horror too, because there's some good shit in the 70s.
What year did The Ring
Oh,
come out?
I think Cole was gonna say it was The Ring 2000s. I feel like The Ring was like 2002, maybe, wasn't it?
I thought The Ring was 99.
99?
No,
Is it 90s?
I
Hold
was
on.
in 7th grade, so I think that was 2002.
2000.
That's what I
2001?
said. I think it's an early
It's
2000s.
2002 and the original was 1998.
Okay,
There you
so
go.
you're half right, Chuck.
Yeah,
You just say,
half
oh, I was talking about the other one.
Yeah. I did. You
Well-
know what's crazy is I did not was it last month or the month before that? I did a whole month on my TikTok of 2000s horror, and it was my best month on TikTok in 10 months. Like just every 2000s movie that I did, and I tried to pick like some ones that people hadn't seen before, and like people love 2000s horror. Like I was shocked at how good it did.
You know why? Because that is an era of horror that by people that aren't our age or around our age group tend to look down on. The 2000s, like 2000 to 2010 is almost like this void where, you know, you got the 80s, of course, and all the creativity and all the franchises that came out of that. 90s sucked for a bit, but then you had the Scream boom, and we got all kinds of stuff that came from that. I Know What You Did Last Summer, and the Urban Legend, and we had a couple of slasher sequels and stuff too towards the end. And then from 2010s onward is where you kind of got the birth of like what they call elevated horror. And like it feels like horror's in this totally different era now.
Yep.
2000 to 2010 was like this little void where if you were there and that was your era, you have an affinity for it. And if you're like older or was too young to really be there, it's almost like you just skip past it entirely. So when you really talk nice about it, the people that are big 2000s horror fans, they come out of the weeds.
I think there's outliers in every decade though. Like there's like
Mhm.
movies that like, oh man, that one's so good, but like there wasn't really much else. You know, like I was gonna say '90s was like maybe one of the lacking for horrors, but then again, The People Under the Stairs is one of my favorite horrors, and I think that was 91. So I feel like that maybe could be classifiable into the '80s still. Does that, you know what I'm saying? Because it's
No,
like
that's
right on the
fair. Yeah.
cusp.
I think when it's all said and done, this current iteration that we're going
Right.
through here in the 2020s is going to have a lot to say, like to go down in history, because we've gotten some, since we've gotten there. I mean, there's been some epic, memorable things that I think will age well. I mean, we won't know I'll be dead before I find out how they aged well, but
Yeah.
we're living in a fucking renaissance again of horror that's just delightful to live in.
And I
Well,
think
and
that happens every time there's sort of like economic strife is that the artists thrive. You know, so people that are creating, people that are making movies, people that are part of movies, I feel like they're always the best when you have something to prove. You know, like when you're just churning out movies versus like, oh no, this movie has to do well. You know, I feel like that pressure really does, it makes diamonds sometimes. So I feel like
For
anytime we
sure.
go through this, we get really good art out of it. So like even though like, oh man, shit, like everything costs $1 million, like, oh well, at least we'll get some good movies and some
Well, they're
good
starting to
art.
they're starting to recognize independent things a lot more than they used to in the past. Like, I mean, obviously with Backrooms and Obsession, like they
Mhm.
have to take note. But prior to that, you have The Substance, Get Out. There's a bunch of things that like started on a very independent level that like really broke through and resonated with audiences. So like they're now catering to and trying to cultivate more from that independent creativity than just like, oh, let's make another fucking whatever. But they're going to do that anyway because they just announced, Smile 3's coming and these
Mhm.
other big things. They're going to make another Final Destination and all these things. But we're living in it, and it's a really good time to be a horror fan.
Yeah, and let's
I'm excited for the It Follows sequel.
For sure. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but I'm interested.
Go ahead, Cole.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you guys. I mean, a lot of what you've brought up are indie films, right? Meaning that they were produced independent of the studio system, regardless of who's ultimately distributing. So, what are some of your favorite independent films, like ever in any time frame, as far as horror goes? Jordan, how about you?
I don't know if this is necessarily a horror, but it's one of my favorite films, and it's definitely independent. What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah,
I mean, they got a series out of it. That movie again. I mean, it's supposed to be like a spoof, right?
it's a horror
But
comedy. It's good.
it's so funny. It is so funny. Like I will watch that movie at any given time and stuff like that. It really shows like how talented people can be when they are creating something themselves, like I was saying. And then of course, like it gets picked up and gets distributed and becomes this massive film, but it wasn't, right? It took them years to make that, which
Mhm.
I love even more.
I'm
And
about to rattle off a bunch of shit
yeah, go
Cody's going
for
to
it,
hate.
Chuck. Let's hear the rant.
I'm just going to
Paranormal
hold my finger over the buzzer button.
Paranormal Activity, The
Mhm.
Blair Witch Project, two of the biggest independent films ever in the history of film, that paved the way for a lot of things. I mean, you got to go to Terrifier. Terrifier revolutionized how we watch movies and how they're released in movie theaters. And it's not if you look back through history,
Mhm.
it's not the big ones that open up the door, because the big ones are expected to do what they do. But like they're releasing movies NC-17 uncensored to theaters now because of fucking Terrifier. You know, those kids in Eduardo Sanchez going out into the woods of fucking West Virginia and shooting the Blair Witch Project. Look at the found footage craze that happened after that. But like, look how many artists got to make a movie or got it to be seen like from that, whether you like it or not. I mean, or whether you like, they did what Paranormal Activity for what, 10 grand, 20 grand they made that movie for. And look at all the things that we got from that and the doors that it opened. I mean, their Session Nine's another one that's one of my favorite independent movies ever. Such a fucking incredible movie. I lean indie over studio any day of the week for life. It's just where I'm at. Grave Encounters,
It's been
Eden Lake.
interesting to yeah, there you go. It's been interesting to really dive into film festivals over the last few years. I went to my first one in 2022, and I went there because of the bigger releases. It's like, hey, we're going to premiere Smile, and we're going to premiere Terrifier 2, which still falls under independent, but at the time that was a hugely hyped release. And I've really fallen in love with just walking in, not knowing what I'm about to see. It's not got a big name behind it. It's not got a director I've ever heard of. Half the time, I don't even know the plot. You just walk in and you experience something. And that's the most excited that I get, is coming out of the theater and being able to tell my audience, like, keep your eyes out for this, because you might not hear about it unless you see this video, and it deserves all of your attention. I mean, like, Obsession was that movie. And then now it's like everybody's talking about it. There's been a few other, Rivals of Amzai King that we brought up earlier is a movie that I've been carrying the flag for ever since we saw it in September. And I'm going to keep doing it all the way past August. So those are the ones where, I love blockbusters and big movies as much as anybody else. And those are the ones that are always on our radar because they're put in front of our face every single day up until it comes out. But it's really exciting to see these ones that are like these little engines that could, and they nail it, and then you get to be the one kind of really blasting out the names and seeing people hopefully check it out in a few months and have the same experience you did.
What's amazing too is walking out of that theater when you see, like, of course, Obsession early, Hokum early, but like Rivals. There's a couple things that I've seen, over the last couple of years that were like super independent. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. That's a little engine that couldn't, a big fuck you to the system. And the cool thing is not only like being somebody to tell people about it, but then you watch the trajectory of it. Like you watch it get distro, and you watch it get picked up, and you watch it crush and get extra theaters. It's almost like film becomes a part of you whenever you cover it so much, and then you're like a champion of the underdog. You know what I mean? I think it's like the greatest reward of what I do, of what we do, is to see that little guy get there. You know what I mean? Imagine how Oren Pelly felt whenever Paranormal Activity blew through the fucking roof. That had to be what an experience.
They did such a good job with that too, and you can tell it was just filmed in someone's empty house or
for
someone's house.
$0. Yeah.
And they were just like, "Hey, can we use your house for a week to film this movie?" And it's all, I mean, you don't see anything. You don't see anything the whole movie. It's just like that tension the entire time, and it's fantastic. It is one of my favorite movies. Like, oh man, like rewatching that and like it's so good.
You feel a lot of
It's
passion.
stuff like that lay the groundwork for everybody else to duplicate that movie in their own way.
Yeah, you feel a lot of passion from the people involved too when they do something like that they know is special and probably isn't going to have the legacy of some of the bigger stuff. Because I met Cole Sprouse at Monster Palooza last year, and all day long he's signing Big Daddy, he's signing Riverdale and taking pictures for the stuff like that. And I walk up to him and I'm like, dude, when's Rivals of Amzai King getting distribution? Like you bring up something like that and it just like opens them up. Like you're the first person to bring that up today. Let's talk.
Right.
Dude, I love that fucking movie. Listen, to every single person that's listening to this, and it's not a horror movie, but in August, I think it's August 18th or the 28th.
It's not a horror movie, but it's going to have one of the biggest gore scenes of the entire year.
Listen, it may have one of the most shocking scenes in 2026 for sure. But it's a movie called The Rivals of Amzai King, starring Matthew McConaughey. And it's about like a bluegrass singer. He's a bluegrass singer beekeeper who is introduced to this girl and his family, like kind of like they have a relationship and they kind of like take care of her. And that's all I'm going to fucking tell you. But it is literally a Shawshank Redemption type experience. Like that's how fucking good that movie is. Like it made me cry. It made me laugh. Like it's an epic scale. And I've never seen anything like it. Like it's fucking incredible. And I hope it does. It's only going to take a couple crowds to spread the word on that thing. Like it's going to catch fire. Big up to Black Bear for picking that thing up too.
Yeah, I hope so. They're releasing it at that kind of tricky window right at the end of the summer where people start to really pull back from the theaters as school's going back and they've already spent all their money on all the Spider-Man movies. So I really, really hope this is going to be one of those times where a small little independent film in a touchy window doesn't end up getting buried. But I'll do whatever I can to make sure that doesn't happen.
For sure.
And who's the distributor on that one? Do you know?
Black Bear bought it.
Okay. Yeah, Black Bear just
They just
launched
put
their
out that
own.
they just put out that yeah, they just put out that Tuner movie, which was
Mhm.
really good, by the way. About the guy that has that, he has some kind of like I don't know if it's a disease or a deficiency or whatever with his ears, but he can hear acute sounds, and they make him into a safe cracker with
Mm,
Dustin Hoffman's, and it's pretty good.
okay.
But Amziah King's a whole different ball game.
All right. Yeah, and Blackbird just launched their distribution division. I think seeing the success of Longlegs, which was their film that they sold off to Neon, obviously, you start saying like, oh, what would that have done if we were the distributor, right? If we were the ones booking the theaters and running the marketing campaigns. So I totally agree with you all that indie film is having a revival, especially with the horror genre, right? And it's one that does not necessarily require big names and big casts, but yeah, when you've got McConaughey attached, or you got some of these other folks, it can only elevate it, right? It helps with press, it helps with awareness. Yeah, because a lot of people, especially in my circle, they're like, who's in it, what's it about, all that. So I think everything you've said is going to drive a lot of traffic to this film, and that's what all these independent movies need. I think Obsession's getting close to what 200 million in the box
Kurt
office, and
Russell's in it too.
okay, there you go. So, all right. What other Cody? What other independent films would you want to give a shout out to, especially in the horror genre, that our listeners should check out if they haven't?
So, Chuck, you were talking about post-apocalyptic movies. Have you ever seen Stakeland?
Stakeland
Because
is a great film.
Stakeland is awesome because, like, I think I brought it up whenever we were talking with Stoney and we were talking about,
Steak.
apocalyptic movies. And I'm like, this is like just as much an apocalyptic film as it is a vampire film.
For sure.
And what made it stand out so much to me was it came out during that era where Twilight had basically killed everybody's interest in vampires and werewolves, where it was just like this stench in the air. And everybody's like, I'm not touching it until that clears. And this little movie just kind of came out. I think I even saw it on a YouTube advertisement. It was like one of those like, chance things, like one of those ads you didn't skip right away. And there's two of them. There's Stakeland, and then there's Stakeland 2, The Stakelander, which isn't the best title, but the second one's still pretty solid. But the first one, especially, it's mean, it's brutal. I mean, the movie. One of my only like emotional triggers, if I even have one with horror films, is sometimes I can get really touchy if a child or an infant is in harm's way, depending on the tone of the movie. Literally the first 5 minutes of the movie, a vampire is feeding off of an infant. And I'm like, oh, and so it just lets you know right away, like, this ain't Twilight, baby.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't Twilight, baby.
I think that we can actually break it down. Literally everything in the universe is either Twilight or not Twilight.
There you go. And the funny thing is, we were talking so much about Tom Cruise, and we're going to loop it back around as well. I didn't plan this, but Kelly McGillis is actually in the movie as well as this nun.
In Stakeland?
In Stakeland, she's the nun that Mister saves when you got. It's very much of the vein of Walking Dead and things like that, where like the humans that are left alive are just as depraved as the monsters that are preying on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's pretty early on in the film, you have Mister and you have this young boy who's the protagonist of the movie, and Mister's basically like the drifting Van Helsing of this world, and they come across these group of scumbags that are trying to have their way with this nun.
What was Stakeland, 09?
I think so. Yeah, it was like either early 2010s or late 2000s, because I was still living at home.
It's a very 2010. Yeah, we're close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2010. It's a very unique take on a vampire flick.
I think my favorite unique take on a vampire movie. Oh my God, I have to interject. Don't have to. I'm gonna.
No, let's go.
30 Days of Night.
Yes.
Is one of my favorites.
Okay. Let's hear it. Why?
Well, I mean, I think it's just like the most realistic look at vampires, like devoid of a soul, right? So we see a lot of like juxtaposition with vampires, like, oh, like the Twilight vampires, they're nice and it's purity culture and they glow and all that. They glitter, sorry, not glow. And then you have other vampires that are like morally, they might be pulled this way. And when it comes to 30 Days of Night, they are evil. It's as simple as that. They are evil. They are monsters. They are out for blood. They are out for it is such a gore fest once it starts. These are the vampires that just rip into people and kill them for no reason. Like they're not even drinking all the blood. They're just playing in it. And I think the fact that they don't really speak, they seem to be from another time, makes them even more terrifying. Not even with the prosthetics that they had. I really like the physicality of those vampires as well. And also, it's a unique concept. What do you mean vampires where the sun doesn't shine for 30 days? What a perfect storm of chaos, which is exactly what it is. And also, to be perfectly frank, I will watch anything with Josh Hartnett in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Spoken like a true 90s kid.
I love that. And
I've been on the redemption train for him for a long time, and then you start to see things. Even though I didn't like Trap at all, you see things like Trap and Oppenheimer, and you're like, he's back, baby.
Dude, he's in that new one with Anne Hathaway and
yeah, that one looks interesting.
Well, apparently I posted a video about it, and it what the fuck is the name of it? It begins with a V. I forget what it doesn't matter. I can't look it up right now. But anyway, it's Hartnett, Anne Hathaway, and Dakota Johnson, and Verity. That's what it is.
It's based on a Colleen Hoover novel, which I'm not a fan of Colleen Hoover, but she does write novels that get turned into movies. So Verity is one of them.
Every comment I got literally was people praising that book, saying that it's fucking just completely unhinged. So
yeah, I just don't.
What's the premise?
I don't care for her. I didn't read the book. I didn't read that book.
I'll tell you right now. Hold on. Talk some. I
tried to read one of her books. I did not care for it. She's not for me.
While you're looking it up, one of the things I always stands out to me most about 30 Days a Night is that was in that like 2000s run where Ben Foster in every role that he did just tried to out psycho his last role. So like you had Hostage, and then you had that one. You had 310 to Yuma. You had Alpha Dog.
I forgot about Hostage.
Yeah, every movie he was in for like 12 years there was just like, oh, he's the psychopath. And then you get 30 Days a Night, and he's like, I want a bowl of raw hamburger. And you're just like, what the fuck is this guy?
He's something else. I feel that scene where he's like spitting is so unnerving because his teeth are all messed up, and it's just like, especially as a woman, I don't know if like as a woman, like when I see that, I'm like, what? Like, anytime it's like a mouth.
To be fair, if it was a woman doing that, I'd probably have the same reaction. Yeah, like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
See, I don't know. Bloody smile women in movies never do that to me, but when he had the spit in the teeth,
yeah.
I don't know.
Ben Foster is one of the most underappreciated actors of the last generation because the dude is a monster, and he was my vote for the play Snake Plissken in a remake of Escape from New York. But Verity is about Lowen Ashley gets hired by Jeremy Crawford to ghostwrite novels for his best-selling author wife, Verity, who's unable to finish after an accident. And then she uncovers Verity's disturbing truths while residing at the Crawford's home to work. It's like a spicy psychological erotic thriller, but I was sold at Hartnett and Anne Hathaway. Like, I didn't need to know nothing about it. Like, I'm going to see it. 30 Days a Night, Danny Houston, I'll go on record for this because this is a hill that I die on. Danny Houston is the greatest vampire performance in a horror movie besides Kiefer Sutherland as David in The Lost Boys.
I was just going to ask that.
He's a phenomenal, ruthless killing machine vampire. Danny Houston's incredible in that movie.
Is that the scene where he says, God, no God?
Yeah, his whole persona, the makeup, like Danny Houston as an actor is so underappreciated, and I could never see anybody else playing that part in 30 Days a Night.
Yeah, he's unnerving in that. He's unnerving, and I feel incredible. Like he's the most human looking out of all of them. Amazingly,
for sure. He's like, because he's like the leader.
Yeah, it's Uncanny Valley almost.
Yeah,
it stands out because a lot of his other villainous roles feel like they're written exactly the same, and I don't think it's a problem of him being limited with his talent. It just felt like everything that they gave him, from Magic City to Edge of Darkness, all the way up to Wonder Woman. It's like, just play that guy again. It's like, God damn it. All right,
so who are you guys' favorite vampire performance in a movie?
My favorite vampire character, just in general, is Jerry Dandridge. First, for the original Fright Night, Chris Sarandon. There's just something about that character that just embodies everything that I love about a vampire, where he's scary and he's monstrous, but he's also like cool and suave, where you're like, damn, I kind of want to hang out with this guy, but I don't know how long I'll last. That dance sequence is so iconic to me in Fright Night, where he just comes in. I mean, this girl knows that he's this blood-sucking beast, and still he just walks in the dance floor and just like, and all of a sudden, Charlie can't do anything about it. Love that original.
I actually don't hate the remake of Fright Night.
I don't either.
It's good.
I don't hate it.
No, it's good.
The only bad movie in that whole franchise is the one that came out with Lila from Dexter, like the pseudo sequel to the remake that's not a sequel at all. Like, the first one's a classic. Fright Night Part 2 is so underrated, and it really just is because it's hard to see, but luckily there's a
Agreed.
4K coming out soon. And the remake is one of the best remakes. It does what a remake should, because it holds onto the heart of the original, but it does a lot of things different. You know, it updates the Peter Vincent character. I think the performance is great with that. You got Charlie being the popular kid this time and like changing up the dynamic with him and Evil Ed. Colin Farrell is just awesome, and no matter what he does, he's just effortlessly cool. So yeah, that's a great remake.
There's a 30 Days a Night 4K shipping out in July too, if anybody collects physical media, because we've been waiting on that one for a long time. I think the best vampire performances of all time, in my personal opinion, like I have like almost a 3-way tie at one, which is really tough because it could change any day for me, but it's definitely Kiefer Sutherland as David. Bill Paxton as Severin and Near Dark is fucking utterly phenomenal. Danny Houston's great. Sarandon's great. You'd have to throw Tom Cruise in there for Lestat. And that's like a solid monster top 5 of vampires, but you got to throw Wesley Snipes' as Blade in there as well.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Because he fucking kicked, you know, I mean, like I would probably bump Sarandon I'd probably bump Sarandon for Blade. If I had to die on the hill of a top 5.
Near Dark's finally getting a new physical media release too.
It's getting a listen. Do you know in the same week, I almost had a heart attack now that I'm an avid physical media collector, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant, but you just have to deal with it. So in the same week, some of the dearest tried and true movies that I love with my whole fucking heart are getting 4K releases. Ken Russell's The Devils, Manhunter from Michael Mann, Near Dark's not only getting a 4K, but it's getting an 8-episode TV series with Catherine Bigelow at the helm of it, which is the best news fucking ever. There's so much at 30 Days a Night too. You know, I mean, there's so many good things they're finally like giving us. Like that's like a treasure. Near Dark on 4K. I just bought, it's crazy. That got announced. I just bought a German import of the Blu-ray for $68 fucking dollars because you can't get it nowhere. And like, I'm happy to have that because I love the movie, but like that 4K, that's an immediate buy.
I still have the original Blu-ray of both Fright Night and Near Dark, and both of those were like these quiet, limited releases that they didn't even advertise were limited. Yep. You just had to be on the fucking money and get it when it was out.
And they're worth good money.
And every time I show it, like when I did my Blu-ray collection, people are like, how did you find that? I can't find it anywhere. And I'm like, I just bought it when it was there. I didn't realize it was even a thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get it literally anywhere. Oh, and they just announced too, the Autopsy of Jane Doe has a 4K coming out, which comes out through Severin on June 26th. It goes live, and I have that Blu-ray, which you can't get anywhere because they're out of print. You know, I mean, you can't get it, can't buy it anywhere. I mean, you could buy it on eBay for $250 if you want it, but that being in a 4K is another dream come true.
I will tell you that movie is one of my absolute favorite sleeper movies. I think so many people sleep on The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
It's magnificent.
It's fantastic. And on top of that, I met Emile Hirsch. He is a little angel.
Yes.
What a little gem.
I love
excellent actor. I love when they're good people too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if I'm going to support your movies, you're a good actor, you know, whatever. Like you don't got to delve into everybody's personal life, but when they're also a sweetheart.
Yeah, I love Emile Hirsch. I also am a huge Brian Cox fan, like to the point that I think his Hannibal Lecter is right there with Anthony Hopkins, and people say I'm crazy for that. Phenomenal. Brian Cox is fucking phenomenal, and he's Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter.
Yeah, it really does make a difference when you meet some of these people at a con. And like, I've luckily never had like a don't meet your heroes moment. I've never had a bad experience.
Oh, I have.
I've had like maybe 5 or 6 where it's just like they're very tired, or maybe they're not the most social. Like the con scene shouldn't be where they're at, but they're doing it for money. You know, they're nice enough, but you can tell they'd rather not be there. That's like the worst that I've had. But I've had a few, like maybe 3 or 4 where I loved you before, and now you're like one of my favorite people of all time. I mean, like, you know, when I met Derek Mears for Friday the 13th, like that guy is like the coolest fucking dude on earth to me now. Like I already loved his Jason, but he was so awesome. He would have talked to me for the entire night, one by one or one-on-one if I really wanted to. We did a podcast with him, which was awesome.
Dude, he's
like
fucking the best.
Chuck had him FaceTime me when I was in the gym, and I was like, I'm lifting, and fucking Jason Voorhees just called me. Like it was awesome. You know, he was great. Henry Winkler was amazing. Like treated everybody in the line like they were the only person in that entire convention. Amanda Weiss from Nightmare on Elm Street was an
Oh my
absolute
God, she
sweetheart.
followed me recently. She's a
Uh,
sweetheart.
she was amazing. We talked
I
about
haven't met her though,
Dexter.
not
You
yet.
know, Felissa Rose, if you love Sleepaway Camp, is absolutely somebody you want to make a beeline for to meet. So there's so many of them that you meet them, and they're just that genuine person where whether they're pretending or not, they act like they're just as excited to meet you as you are to meet them. That will make your whole world if you're a fan.
So, Jordan, let's go back to your comment of the hero that you met that you wish you hadn't.
Well,
you don't have
I
to
wouldn't
name
say
names,
a hero.
yeah.
But I've had bad. I lived in I lived in Los Angeles for 7 years. Okay, you'll run into celebrities at Trader Joe's. You see them everywhere. And I was a model, so I was at like all the parties, all the events, all the clubs, all the stuff. They send you to everything. Like your agent will just send you to everything. So I've met a lot of famous people. Not all of them are nice. And not to say, of course, everyone can have a bad day. Some of them are not good people. They are not. So I'll just leave it at that. I know you guys want to hear a name.
Yeah, we want to know. Yeah, come on.
I will tell you the worst experience I had with a celebrity that should not have acted this way, especially where we were, was Mickey Rourke. He was an asshole.
That's not
He
shocking.
was an asshole.
Yeah.
He was just a straight up asshole.
I would be more surprised if you said he was awesome.
Yeah,
No,
right.
he was an asshole, and for no reason. It was literally the Sin City 2 party, like after party that we were.
Wow.
There was not a lot of people there. It's literally for his movie, and he was really, really rude, like insanely rude. And it was just like, for what? Like, but so like you'll have that happen where, and like I wasn't even a fan of his. My friend was, and it was just a bad interaction. It was just awful, like, and for no reason. All he had to do was say, "Hey, thanks so much." That's all.
Yeah.
And
I still haven't had a bad in 3 years that I've been going to festivals and meeting people. I haven't had not once yet. I haven't been turned off. I haven't had from Mike Flanagan and Kate to Damien and Chris Jericho and fucking so it's tons of people, and they've all been nothing but like super nice. The cast of Ready or Not too. Catherine Newton was at the party, and she like walked around amongst the people, and this is like. But Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean Hannity were roped off around security, like, and just sat on a thing because like, can you fault them for that? They have to be there because they're paid to be there. But like, sometimes maybe they just don't want to be bothered. Like, you got to take that with the territory. I know if I was super famous, I wouldn't want people running up to me neither. You know what I mean? But like, they cannot not go to the party. But that's the farthest thing too. Because I tried anyway. I tried to walk right through the rope. Of course I did. So I wanted, and I didn't even want to talk about Ready or Not. I wanted to talk about The Pit with Sean Hannity.
Well, sometimes too that has to do with their management or their security representation too. Sometimes it's not even really their choice. As much as you might think like they can do whatever the hell they want, sometimes they're directed not to. And so like I met Sean Hannity at the Critics' Choice Awards this year, and dude was super cool. You know, like he talked about The Pit, he talked about Ready or Not months before I was going to see it, and he's like, man, it's going to be awesome. And
yeah,
so
he was a super cool guy. I'm not faulting them. It was the first time that I seen that in a public space where like they invite you to this party.
Yeah.
But every party I've been to before then, like when I went to the Together party, you know, I sat at a table with Dave Franco and Allison Brie and the director and talked to them. Then McLovin walked in and he was drunk. And then we spent 3 hours literally sitting on a couch.
Does anybody know his name? Like, I know it's Christopher Mintz-Bless, but like he's McLovin forever.
No, but as soon as we seen him, we're like, McLovin, and he was like, "What's up?" And because he was lit.
Yeah.
But he was such a sweetheart. We just sat on the couch and he told jokes for like an hour and a half, and it was like one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me, because it's like I just got to hang out with fucking McLovin, which is cool.
So I was gonna say, I know you asked about like my worst experience. I had really good experiences with celebrities too, as well. Like there's really, really cool ones. You know, I met Jim Carrey. I almost passed out. When I met him, because he was so cool. He literally came right up to me because I walked in. Guys, this is embarrassing. You want to hear the story? Okay, you're gonna hear it. So I walk in, and mind you, this is for the Muse concert. I'm at the Staples Center in LA. It's for the Muse concert. I have backstage passes because one of my model girlfriends is dating a producer. He gives us passes. We go there in the limo. We're back with everybody. We walk backstage at this Muse concert, and I shit you not, it is Kate Hudson, the lead singer of Aerosmith,
Steven Tyler.
Yeah. And Jim Carrey. And they're all standing there talking, you know, just standing. And I'm talking like an arm's reach away. And I'm drunk because there's champagne in the limo, and I was already let's go to the Muse concert. So I walk in drunk, and I walk in and I go, oh my God, because freaked out. It was the first time I'd ever been starstruck. It happens.
Mhm.
And it was Jim Carrey. And my friend, who's dating the producer, she goes, "Oh, which one?" Like asking me which one I was being starstruck over. And I was like, "That's Jim Carrey."
All of
She
them.
goes, "Oh, I know him. Jim, come here." Just like that, just that fast, just how I'm saying it. So Jim Carrey freaking walks over and he's like, "Hey, I wanted you to meet my friend Jordan." And he is just as animated. Mind you, he's tall. He's like 6'2". He's tall. He bends down right in my face. "Hi, I'm Jim," and shakes my hand like real hard. And I'm like, "I know who you are," like freaking out. You know what I mean? And he was just, we ended up hanging out with them. They were so nice
That's
the
awesome.
whole night. But it's just one of those things where you're not prepared for it. You
Right.
know what I mean? You don't, I was tipsy and he came and he was like right here in my face. And I was like, "I know who you are." And I said something really embarrassing. I'm not going to repeat it here, but it made him laugh. And then I
That's
was
awesome.
like, "I'm going to go to the bathroom and kill myself."
The only time I had something similar to that happen was the Critics' Choice Awards this year. And like, I've been around enough, actors and directors. Like, it was awkward at first, but I've been around enough where you do kind of build like, oh, that they're regular people.
Yeah.
You don't get starstruck as much anymore. But the one time where like my soul left my body was my wife was trying to find Adam Sandler and his wife the entire night. They were supposed to be there for Jay Kelly. And she loves like the whole family. My daughters watch the movies with his daughters and everything like that. So my wife, this is the first time she's been around celebrities. So of course she's just on cloud nine. And we're walking around and, Adam's nowhere to be found. And I'm like, they're probably keeping him until like right before the show. Like they know everybody's going to flood him. Like just don't worry about it. And we walked around the front to get to our table. And my wife grabs my hand and squeezes and just like freezes. And I was like, I know what that means. And I look and I see Adam and I see his wife and they're walking towards us. And I froze and I was just like locking eyes with him and he got near me. And I don't even know why I said this because it wasn't in my brain. My body just like pushed it out. It was like, "I love you, Adam." And so I said that and Adam just hits my shoulder. He's like, "Good to see you, buddy." And we walked by and I was like, yes, that was awesome.
That's amazing. I love that. The general consensus I've gathered from being in and around and put in positions like that is they just want to be treated like regular fucking people.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, of course.
That's it. You know what I mean? Chris Jericho was so happy that I didn't talk to him about movies. Like I brought up a wrestling match from like 1997 and he thought it was the coolest shit ever to like talk about like wrestling versus Terrifier. He was also,
That's interesting because you would think that he would get his ear talked off about wrestling more than anything else. So bringing up Fozzy or Terrifier would be like his icebreaker.
But he even said that like the whole entire press run for it's all because people were just so obsessed with like Terrifier. You know what I mean? And was it cool to get your jaw ripped off or whatever it was? You know what I mean? He was also 150 shades to the wind when we spoke too. So, but he was such a sweetheart too. Really nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Would make a cool vampire.
He's got the look.
For sure. He can be a stat.
Yeah, just to get back on track as far as the vampire movies go. I mean, Cody, any others that you want to shout out, whether independent or big studio films?
Oh man. I mean, like luckily here over the last couple of years, we've kind of had a little bit of a renaissance with vampire films. I was worried, to go back to the Twilight joke for a while there. I mean, if I was to be honest, slashers and vampire movies are probably my two favorite subgenres of horror. Because I grew up with Near Dark, of course, The Lost Boys. I mean, me and Chuck's podcast is named after it, for Christ's sake. You got Blade. I mean, vampire stuff is my bread and butter. But in the 2000s, 2010s, it kind of felt like nobody really wanted to touch it. Is this even horror anymore? It's all these other things. And luckily, over the last couple of years, it's been cool to see, Nosferatu and Renfield and Abigail, which I absolutely loved, kind of coming out. And I'm really hoping that werewolves start to pick it up. I had a lot of faith that Lee Winnell was going to be the one to do it, and I just didn't like that movie at all. So maybe Robert Eggers can be the one that can finally kind of bring some respect back to the wolf name.
There is no maybe.
There's no
He's
maybe.
There is no maybe.
He's gonna slay it.
Trust in
I'm a little bit worried. The only thing about this movie that concerns me is that they've made it so adamant that the dialect in it is going to be like super old English, like almost indiscernible.
The Witch
I'm
was the same way.
Exactly, but the vibe that I'm getting is almost like it's going to be The Witch ×2, and I'm worried about how much of a barrier that's going to make for your average person when Nosferatu killed it, and the last couple really.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think Eggers movies are for the regular viewer. I think they're for us.
I agree. I just think his last few.
Yeah, I think they're for us. I think that's the point: is to stimulate you in every way. It's not just slop cranking out that anyone can watch it.
No.
It's for film fans. You know, he knows what he's doing, and I trust Eggers. I swear I trust him with it. But I will say, I think Cody's right. I think that we are gonna maybe get some more good monster stuff, and that's for several reasons. One, I think that technologically we have the ability to make good werewolves now. When in the past it was really a hurdle with practical effects and CGI. Neither of them were really up to par to sort of make an anthropomorphized wolf that looks good. It looks like a guy in a costume, or it looks like CGI. Now, I will say in Van Helsing, even though that's clearly CGI, I love the design of that werewolf. I would say
Hey,
the most
I'm
of
I'm
the
a
strongly,
Van
I'm
Helsing
strongly,
truther.
I'm strongly going to challenge this. Actually,
Go for
Well,
it.
that's
that's
2 on
fine.
1, baby. Let's go. Because I am a
I'll
Van
say
Helsing truther. I think that movie
no,
is
no,
so
not, no,
entertaining.
not Van Helsing, but American Werewolf in London is the greatest werewolf transformation ever put to screen.
Oh, yeah.
Ginger
I will
Snaps.
give you that, but I'm saying
Ginger Snaps transformation is fucking flawlessly phenomenal. Like, they just don't want to spend the money on the practical effects to make it look good.
and the Company of Wolves as well, I think, has incredible
Oh, for sure,
transformations,
for
hands-on
sure.
practical effects. And that's why I think, like, when it comes to that, it does take time, it takes money, and people were not
They don't
doing
want
it
to
right through
spend
the
it. Yeah,
90s and
no,
2000s.
I
I
agree.
feel like now we have the technology. We can rebuild him. We have the technology. We can do it, right?
It's just going to take a filmmaker who puts his foot down and is like, we're not CGI in this. Or we're going to CGI it in spots, but we're going to have a transformation scene. We're going to have physical, practical effects. You know, the last movie that kind of blended it well to me, maybe the first 2 of them did it. After that, it kind of got a little bit more digital. But I thought for as much as they're not like totally revered, the first 2 Underworld movies by Len Wiseman, I thought had really solid effects where the wolves looked like actual like beasts. And of course there was CGI with like them running on the walls and stuff, but they blended it. You got both.
Kate Beckinsale, and they were calling them lichens, right? Was the name of those creatures. I was going to bring up Underworld. That was going to be my pick. Actually,
that was
you
going to be
didn't know
one of
that
mine
going
too. I'm
in.
glad he mentioned it.
Yeah,
For sure. There's 2 too that so the Frank Grillo werewolf movie, which isn't a great werewolf movie, has a great looking werewolf in it. And there's a director out there, Scott Hansen, the guy that did Bad Candy. He has a movie called Devour about this female rock band. It's super indie. He owns a studio in Georgia. They shot it all
the one with Jetson Ackles.
Yeah. Did you see Devour?
No, but I can picture the movie poster. I got like a weird photographic memory with posters.
Yeah, it's with the Virginia. They're called the band's called the Virginia Bitches. It's the lead singer. It's the lead singer from the Butcher Babies is in it. It rips too.
Oh, Butcher Babies! I remember them.
Yeah, they're still around. It rips, and the guy that did the practical effects is a student of Rick Baker, and Rick Baker was on set and like helped with that werewolf, and that big werewolf they have in that movie is such a stunning wonder. Like, it just is fucking beautiful. And they didn't compromise you. I mean, they just wanted to have a good fucking werewolf. It's coming out in August, by the way, Devour.
Speaking of werewolf movies and Rick Baker, I don't think the horror world will ever be completely healed until we possibly get as much of a version as we can of the original cut of Wes Craven's Cursed. I think of all of the potential director's cuts out there, that's the one that would make the biggest splash, because for those that don't know, that he shot an entire movie, save for maybe the finale, the last 10 minutes, and then the Weinsteins came in and told him to redo the entire thing. And so the movie that we saw, like, Skeet Ulrich had a major role in it. He was removed from the movie entirely. The movie that we see with Jesse Eisenberg and Christina Ricci is like his second, more PG-13 goofy cut or whatever. And I still enjoy that movie for moments. But when you hear what he was doing with the original, and it was going to be very meta, just like his, Scream and New Nightmare, and Rick Baker was doing the werewolf design. The guy that did American Werewolf in London was doing his werewolf design, and they said change it to CGI. Whoever the fuck made that decision should be fired if they're not already. That's a movie that I swear, I talked about it with Derek Mears because he played the werewolf. And I'm like, dude, is there any shot that this could actually happen? And I won't let too many details out, but he basically told me that they've been dangling that carrot for a while, where they'll actually they'll bring it up, but the people that can do it, just for whatever reason, won't pull the trigger on it.
Won't do it.
All right.
I would love to see it.
Jordan, what are some of your favorite werewolf movies?
Some of my favorite werewolf movies. Okay, let's see. Well, we already talked about Van Helsing and Underworld, so
Mhm.
those were already on my list. And we also mentioned What We Do in the Shadows, which they have a killer werewolf random cameo in that movie too. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna put that in there. But to be honest, I think we're lacking in
Yeah.
good werewolf movies. I will say I do love The Company of Wolves. It's a weirdo movie, insane practical effects. One of my favorites, like since it's older as well. When it comes to modern, I really don't think we've seen a lot. So I'm going to throw it in there. I might get pushed back for this one, although I absolutely love her in this. Amanda Seyfried in Red Riding Hood.
Mm.
I think that was the closest, even still, and I think it's Gary Oldman in that too, isn't it?
I think so,
Um,
yeah.
the cast is good, but we
It's
just
not
don't
that
have a
good,
lot
yeah.
of werewolf movies. We
Nope.
just don't. There's just not. I mean, Ginger Snaps, I would say, is probably my favorite out of all of them.
And Ginger
But
Snaps, not only is Ginger Snaps fantastic, but part two and part three are also excellent movie. That whole trilogy fucking bangs for me. I love it.
It is not without many flaws, but I think my favorite werewolf film of all time, and it's always said to be sacrilegious because like American Werewolf in London is like the widely accepted
Can't
answer. If
wait,
it's
dude.
not
The
that, you're
Howling.
objectively
The
wrong.
Howling.
Not The Howling either. Silver Bullet.
I love
I
that.
love Silver Bullet so
Dude,
much.
Silver
I don't know
Bullet.
what it is
Who
about
the
the
fuck
charm.
wouldn't want to have a drunk uncle like Gary Busey that's going to build you a hot rod wheelchair and give you fucking fireworks? It's a masterpiece.
That's the most Gary Busey performance you'll
yes.
ever have. Like everything about it is just like, that's who this fucking guy really
It's just
is. And it
Gary
just
Busey,
shines.
yeah.
Corey Haim, man. I mean, that kid was just, I loved everything that he was in back in the day. The
Mhm.
werewolf design sucks, you know, but there's something charming about how bad that it is. And I love the story with the priest and everything. That was a movie too, where Don Coscarelli was originally supposed to do like his version of it. And I think he might have even shot part of it. I'm skewing the details, but he's involved somewhere. So it's a similar like Wes Craven Curse situation. So I don't know what his version would have looked like, but something about Silver Bullet, like, you know, ugly blemishes and all. I always loved that film.
My sister, God rest her soul, because she's not with us anymore, was terrified growing up of Silver Bullet, like fucking terrified of it. And my back porch at the house I grew up in, like you would walk out the door and to the left, we had lattice that went up to the porch roof that had like rose bushes growing up it. And she used to think that the werewolf from Silver Bullet was going to climb up there because of the movie and get her. And my mom would like, whenever she would like brush the cats and stuff, would like save the fur and like put it on the rose bushes and stuff to like fuck with my sister. My mom was goofy like that. That's why I'm like so ingrained to poltergeist. But it just like brought that memory up for me because she used to think that she was going to get the Silver Bullet werewolf through her window, which is like the best memory.
Are you
right.
truly a parent if you haven't tried to scare the shit out of your kid at least
Listen,
once?
you
We all
got
have
to.
one story.
Yeah, you got to do it
my-
tastefully. Let's hear your story, Cody.
Oh
And I'll
my
share
god!
mine.
This one was I was just a participant in. I was like I aided and abetted this one, if you will.
Mhm.
My dad got this like pretty good looking, but obviously a cheap like Pinhead mask. But it still was like, if in the dark, especially, you're like, that's Pinhead. And so at the time, trying to think of what details to say. My brother was very little at the time, and let's just say there was always something that was left in the bathroom where you'd have to call him down and be like, what the fuck, dude? And so my dad got this mask, and I'm like, hide in the bathroom. And so he hides in the bathroom, shuts the light off, and I'm like, Garrett, get down here. And then he goes in the bathroom and just opens the door, and my dad's like, I want your soul. And he made it upstairs into his room in like 3 steps. It was like, and we'll still bring it up. He's in his early 20s in the Navy now. We're like, remember we scared the fuck out of you?
I love that.
Well, what I was going to share, I'll keep it short so you guys can share more of your stories. But with my my now 5-year-old, when he was getting potty trained, he did not like to go poop, and he was very scared of the toilet and the flushing noise of the toilet and all that. And so one day I had the idea. I don't know where it came into my head, but with all the horror films that we all love, I said, I wonder what would happen if I showed him this scene. So I pull up the chest burster scene from Alien. And I say, hey, buddy, if you don't poop, the poop monster is going to come. And this is how it happens.
Oh, my God.
And
was
so
shitting
he
for
was
3
like,
months.
okay, I don't. And then he's like, wait, look, the poop's running on the floor. That's so silly. So it kind of backfired a little bit. But he was potty trained within weeks of that. So there's times where these movies, can help you in real life.
There you go.
I think I never scared a kid, but I did have heinous ex-stepmother, who was terrified of snakes.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you what, I exploited that at any chance that I could.
I
And
love
I
it.
remember putting a giant stuffed anaconda after the movie Anaconda came out.
Hmm.
Full size, right? It's like a 20-foot stuffed snake. It used to be on my bed. It's still a plushie. I put it on the stairwell one night when she was getting ready to go to bed, and I remember her just being like, "It is not funny. Go get it right now. I'm not playing." And I'm laughing because I'm like, "It's a toy."
Yeah.
And she's like, "I'm not kidding. Go get it. I'm not walking past it." And I'm like, "It's literally a stuffed animal. It's not real. It was a joke." And she was so upset. And now I don't feel bad at all because she wasn't nice, but
Yeah, and some of those decorations, I mean, I know we're getting close to the time that Home Depot will start putting out all the inflatables and things like that, but many of the plushy things, it just doesn't look realistic at all. And then you have like the super realistic spider things, and you've got all the mannequins. You can buy the Terrifier animatronic and hook it up. So, are you guys big as far as the Halloween decorations go, or?
Oh, I go all out on
Mhm.
Halloween. I've spent thousands on animatronics and things like that. Like my yard, like we friendly compete with like 7 houses down because
Mhm.
they just like leave their house that way all year round, which I totally respect. But my wife would tell me hell no. But I have 2 ginormous, like 10 feet tall animatronics. One of them is a scarecrow. The other one's like a grave digger. And
Mhm.
so I make half of my yard on one side of the driveway like a graveyard, and the
Mhm.
other one is like Harvest Moon type thing where I'll have pumpkin monsters and stuff. I've got Chucky, I've got the Exorcist, I have the Terrifier, Pale Girl. I didn't like the Art the Clown one because it's just the horn and that would annoy the shit out of me.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've spent a lot on animatronics, and for as much as it sucks when it comes time to put them up, and even more so when it comes time to take them down,
Mhm.
it's awesome just having that like aura around my house for, I try for around 2 months, but usually Fantastic Fest screws me up, or the hurricane season especially. We're right before October. The one year we literally put everything up and it's like, oh, now a hurricane's coming through. We got to take it down and at least
Mhm.
where it won't fall. But yeah, I love it.
My whole
I
entire
decorate. I'm
house
more
is
of a. Oh,
Halloween.
sorry. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I'm more of a costume person. I don't have a house front yet to do. Like I still live in a building, so it's not like feasible to decorate outside yet. I do. I go out for my costumes every year. I'm a big costume fan.
All right.
Yeah, my whole house is Halloween. I mean, it's
Yeah.
leaking. It's leaking. I mean, I'm all the way out to the kitchen now. Like I just have accepted the fact that I have a Halloween house.
My wife put very strict restrictions where she's like, when we bought this house, she's like, okay, you're going to take that extra bedroom and that's going to be your space. All of your crazy shit will stay in there. And I'm like, okay, sounds
You
like
get
a
a
good
whole
deal.
extra bedroom. That's awesome.
Oh, I'm telling you, I had to have a studio space. Otherwise, it would just be a nightmare for everybody for all the video content that I do. But I'm like, okay. And I'll still find ways to like tastefully put my fingerprints. Like there was this company that was selling these little art deco things where it's basically like the color spectrum of a movie, but it looks like an actual art piece, even though it's technically movie memorabilia. So I have like a Thing poster in my bedroom that my wife just thinks is an art deco thing. And every time I pass it, I'm like, that's John Carpenter, baby.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Sneaking it in.
There you go.
So Jordan, how are you going to pull off a obsession costume for Halloween this year? How is that going to work?
So I haven't seen it yet. I don't know, but I might. We'll see. Last year I did. My partner was Beetlejuice and I was Dolores from Beetlejuice.
They were great.
So we did that one.
They were great too. Yeah.
Yeah, I go all out. I hand painted his costume. I do all the makeup, all the special effects. I do all of it. So we've done everything from we went as Louis and Lestat actually as the gay vampires. He was Louis and I was Lestat. I call it a cross play when I have to do the other gender. So we did a cross play of that. I mean, I've been Beetlejuice. I've done Beetlejuice myself. You know, we did Morticia and Gomez. We've done so many of the pairs we try and get. I want to look because I did cosplay, professionally. I was hired to do for modeling and stuff like that. So when I do cosplay for myself, I want to be that character because the joy that the fans get from seeing you is unmatched.
For
It's
sure.
absolutely unmatched. If you can nail a really good costume and people want to take pictures with you, it makes their day, which makes my day. So when they see you, they're like, I gotta get a picture with you. Oh my God, you're perfect. Like the cosplay is awesome. I put so much effort into my costumes for that reason because I want to convey to the best of my ability as close to theatrical as I can be for those photo ops for people. So it's like I did it for years anyway. Like, and now I just do it for fun.
Yeah, and if you're going to do it, you might as well do it
You
because you're
gotta do
spending
it.
the time anyway. You know what I mean? Like, there's no
Yeah.
half-assing it. Yeah.
I mean, I love the Halloween pop-up stores, but I'm not buying something from there. I make my costumes. I source
I
like all
don't
my
either.
stuff.
I make my kids costumes every year. Yeah,
Yep,
I'm not buying shit. Like I might order shit from Amazon to like add to it or whatever,
sure.
but
Mhm.
I mean, I still make them up and everything like that.
We've
Well,
had a funny little trend here where, everybody in my family that dresses up, they just do their own thing. Like we don't really theme ourselves around each other. But for 2 years in a row now, like in a very unexpected way, me and my youngest, my 9-year-old daughter, have ended up like theming our costumes together without even trying. So 2 years ago, I was Leatherface, and I did what you're talking about, where I sourced all these different pieces and kind of made my own costume, and it was awesome. And that was when the Barbie movie came out before that. So she went as Western Barbie. And we're taking pictures and I even realized, and I'm like, oh, we both went with kind of like the Texas theme here, just in very different ways. And then last year, she loved Megan, and Megan
mhm.
2.0 came out. So she wanted to dress as Megan, and Black Phone 2 came out. So I was doing the grabber. And we're walking around, and I'm like, I didn't even realize we're like Blumhouse themed now. And so like it just somehow ends up coming together where we link up in very different ways.
That's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, this year it's already been dictated in my household that we're going to be Mario Brothers. So I'm going to be Bowser,
Mhm.
the wife is going to be the princess, and the kids are going to be Mario and Luigi. So we'll see
Oh,
how that
so
goes.
cute.
Maybe we'll get all dressed up for an episode.
Peaches.
That's
Yeah.
adorable. I love that.
We'll pick a costume for Chuck for our Halloween episode. We'll make
I'll
you
do
something.
my own cost. I'll do no. I posted I dressed up for my TikToks for the last 3 years in a row for Halloween. Yeah, I don't play about Halloween, but my kids are starting to get into like last year they were Freddie and Jason, and I couldn't have been more
Ah,
proud as a fucking
Hell
father
yeah.
to do it. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Especially because Logan is like introverted. He's my 14-year-old, and he didn't want to just be hockey mask Jason. Like he wanted his whole face made up, worms, the whole fucking deal with the crack mask and the blood. And I'm like, yes, you can. I don't care how much it costs. Yes, you can have this, son. And it was just a wonderful moment.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
Mhm.
Excellent. So, getting back onto the horror film theme of our conversation, have you guys watched anything good lately on streaming or on digital? Because I finally got to see Keeper when it came out on Hulu, and I know that was a divisive film for some people, but I loved it. What are your guys' thoughts on
Really?
Keeper?
I was not
I
a
like
fan.
Keeper.
I was not a fan. I appreciate that Osgood so far, especially having cranked out like 3 movies and or yeah, it's going to end up being like 3 movies in like 2 years or whatever it was.
Mhm.
His movies are very different. Doesn't feel like he's like a one-trick pony at all. Long Legs has nothing to do with Keeper, which has nothing to do with the monkey. But Tatiana Maslany is amazing. She carries that movie on her shoulders.
For sure.
I think that the creature design and some of the eeriness in it is pretty good. I just didn't get into the story. I didn't get into the payoff. I can't remember specifically what it is. It's been a while, but yeah, that was one that I saw that I was pretty disappointed. I don't know if I like that one or Black Coat's Daughter less, because Black Coat's Daughter is definitely a lot slower, but I felt like the payoff was better. So it's somewhere in there.
All right. And Chuck, you're more on my side. Why'd you like Keeper?
I
What
just
should people
come to
check out?
terms with the fact that I'm an Oz Perkins guy. Playing like he's my kind of weird. Like I fuck with him, and he'll sell a seat for me. I'm going to see it. Like I like Keeper. It's just weird. It's a weird ass movie. It doesn't really spoon feed you anything or explain anything to you. It's got some creepy, weird monsters. The only gripe I had on that movie is I wish they would have showed less in the trailer. But Neon's fucking notorious for that.
Right.
Yeah, but I like it. It's a 3 out of 5. I mean, it's solid. It's not my favorite Perkins, but I mean, I didn't hate it. Like I enjoy it for sure.
Yeah, I just enjoyed the simplicity of the storyline, right? You have a couple, they go out to the cabin in the woods. There's a mystery, like, they're supposedly close, but they're kind of weird. And then he kind of leaves, and there's creaks in the walls and the ceilings, and so you kind of feel like there's something else going on at this cabin. But I like how they connected it all together, and I do feel like it's very rewatchable if you can deal with the pacing and the dialogue issues that I know for myself and a lot of people had with that movie. Jordan, have you seen Keeper yet?
I have not. That's
All
why I
right.
haven't commented.
There you go.
That's why I wrote it down so I could watch it.
Yeah, it's on Hulu now in the United States, and I'm sure it's on many other streaming services and platforms abroad. Chuck, Cody, and what have you guys seen lately on digital or streaming?
I have been knee deep in Steven Spielberg lately, so I haven't really watched too much horror. We got Disclosure Day coming out tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to be seeing it, and so I'm trying to prep for a ranking video for next week.
Mhm.
So I've been diving into his filmography, and it's been interesting because there's a couple of his quote unquote classics that I've just missed. It's just always been a blank spot for me, like Close Encounters.
Mhm.
But a lot of his later films I haven't seen, mostly the historic stuff. I'm not really a big history buff. And so it's been interesting to kind of try to pace out watching through his filmography where I try to watch something like The Post and then follow it up with something a little bit more fun and lively like War of the Worlds, and then try
Mhm.
to go to Lincoln and like bouncing around and seeing how many different movies and different styles and different genres that guy has captured. So I've been going on that whole rabbit hole lately.
Have you
I
seen Ready
watched
Player One yet?
I am, or yes, I have. I saw it in theaters.
Mhm.
I've watched it, I think, twice since it's come out. I'm a lot higher on that film than most people. People tend to be really down
I love
on
it.
Ready Player One
I
for
love
some
Ready Player
reason, and
One.
I
I
think
think
it's
it's
so much
fantastic.
fun. I'll tell you
Same.
another hot take too, and I didn't realize until I started talking movies on the internet that this was a fact, and it blew
Mhm.
my mind because the '90s kid in me was like, "This is sacrilege to me." Why do people hate Hook? Because I think Hook is amazing.
Do people hate Hook?
People
Yeah,
hate Hook. Look
people
up
hate
Steven
Hook.
Spielberg
Really?
rankings online. You will not find one by any reputable trade that does not have Hook in the bottom five.
Hmm.
Yeah, people hate Hook.
I don't
I
know
think
why.
Hmm.
Hook's
It
I
like
think
that.
Hook's
I
fair.
don't know if it's just my love for Robin Williams and especially all the
Right.
movies that he did that I grew up in, but like Hook is just so magical to me. That was a movie that I grew up with. It's just like you get the Robin Williams charm, you get this, world that's your imagination runs. Dustin Hoffman's great. Like I think that movie is amazing, and I cannot wait to just absolutely put on the boxing gloves and put it super high in my ranking.
I
And just
love
be
that.
like, here's the truth.
I love that. I watched Catch Me If You Can the other night because me and Cody we're doing Spielberg episode this
Mhm.
week. I was not impressed with it as much as I was the first time I seen it.
Mhm.
I think it's bloated, overrun, way too long. And I just kind of didn't care. It's like a 3 out of 5 Spielberg for me.
Hmm.
I know Cody hates that. Um, I watched Hungry, the new Hippo movie that's coming out. It comes out like on June 23rd. Don't waste your time.
Mhm.
No shit.
And, yeah, and I watched
I need to put on my surprised face.
and last night I watched Breeder, which is that new movie that IFC Shutter picked up, and take it with a grain of salt. I mean, I think there's people that are gonna like it. There's things in it to really like, but I agree 100% with what you told me yesterday, Cool. It doesn't commit. Like it could have been one of the most diabolically weird, fucked up movies ever and would have been amazing, and they just tiptoe around it, they don't commit to the bit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you get 45 minutes in and it's just like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like it's I don't know. I don't know. It just wasn't
Well, so in addition to Keeper, I watched Greenland 2 finally. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Taking it full circle to the apocalyptic types of movies. Did you guys see that?
I would
Never
never.
even watched Greenland
Oh
1.
man.
I wouldn't watch either one of them. And I
All
love
right.
Gerard Butler.
I've
Well,
been watching, I mean, keeping it on with vampires. I've been watching Interview with the Vampire, the AMC series. I rewatched that to prep for their new season, which is retitled The Vampire Lestat to in keep with Anne Rice's novels because they're going in that order. So the first 2 seasons were Interview with the Vampire. Now we're getting into The Vampire Lestat, and then we'll move
mhm.
into Queen of the Damned, right? And I'm assuming they're going to get into Tale of the Body Thief as well. So not only am I rereading all of the Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice, but I'm rewatching the show so that I can get prepped for the show. I will say, since we're on vampires, I think, and this might be a hot take, I don't know, I don't care, I don't think so. I think Sam Reed, who's playing Lestat, is the best Lestat we've ever seen. Like,
Okay.
bar none, hands down. I think he bodies that role. I'm so excited for the rest of that series. It's probably like my most anticipated series for so long. And I think the AMC, with all that Walking Dead money, they're killing it. Like, they are absolutely doing that justice, even with the changes, I will say.
I love that for you. I love that you love it that much.
Oh my god, I've been reading them since I was a teen. I shouldn't have been reading I'll tell you right now, I should not have been reading them books as young as I was. But I've been such a fan of hers for so long, and just seeing them finally give the story of the vampires that we fell in love with and on the pages an actual visual representation of like what they really look like. Because with Tom Cruise and with Stuart Townsend, who both previously played Lestat, they don't look like Lestat at all, at all,
Mhm.
at all. So they really did good with casting, AMC. And the only other thing I said that I'm watching is I'm doing a rerun of the Scream franchise.
Mm.
So I'm doing like a Scream summer for like Summerween to kick off Summerween. We're doing the Screams to get up
Mhm.
to Scream 7 just came out, so or a couple months back.
Right.
Sweet.
Good stuff.
All right. So, a question for you guys, just to kind of tie a bow on the vampires and the werewolves. If in real life you're on like a random street or in the woods somewhere, and a random person comes up and says, "We got to run. There's a either werewolf or vampire, behind us chasing us." Which one would you be more scared of in real life in that scenario, or would you just say bullshit? I'll wait it out and see if this thing comes.
That's
Assuming that they're real, assuming that the threat is real, I would prefer to be in proximity to a vampire because they're cognizant at least. I would say a werewolf doesn't have control over themselves and you're more likely to perish and not be turned. I feel like I could turn it on for a vampire and I'd be like, come on, buddy, make me one.
Yeah,
Like I would at least,
I was
you got
gonna
to get
say.
a little, right?
I'm running from the vampire. I'm running from the werewolf, and I'm asking the vampire to bite me. I'm hanging
Yeah,
out and
same,
wait.
right.
Want to go get a
Alright.
beer? Let's go.
Oh man. That specific scenario that you just put out, probably a werewolf, because it feels like it would just tear through a crowd. I mean, you think about like the tunnel and stuff like that in American Werewolf in London. Most other scenarios, I would be more afraid of a vampire for all the reasons that Jordan gave. Like if I had, if I'm locked into my house and I have one of the
Mhm.
two of them trying to break in, I feel like I have a better chance at surviving a werewolf trying to break in versus something that can think and speak and fly and all that other stuff. So,
Right.
yeah.
And don't you feel like eternal life though would be the ultimate curse, right? For all the reasons
Nope.
that you see in these movies, or would you want to live forever in that
Sure.
vampire scenario?
Do you know
No,
how
It really
fucking
depends on
cool
what
would
kind
be
of vampires we are. It really depends. Like, are we Twilight vampires or are we Anne Ricean vampires? You
Yeah, I
feel me?
mean,
Because that's different vampires. Like,
if
am
we're
I
just
am I 30 Days
yeah,
a Night vampire? Am I
Mhm.
if we're just
Blade
going
vampire?
baseline vampire, it'd be the coolest job in the world to be a fucking vampire. Everything about it's fucking cool.
Yeah,
I'm
and
the
really, if
opposite.
you really
I
don't
feel like
want to
it'd be a
live
curse.
anymore, if you're over immortality, just walk out into the sun.
Yeah, I know. I feel like it'd be a curse. Maybe it's just
Exactly.
the sentimental, sappy father in me. But you think about like having to watch your kids age past you and die, and your wife and all your family around
I
you,
would just
and
make
being
them
like this.
vampires.
Just- you don't have a choice.
Hey,
I know
River.
what's best for you.
Hey, River, come here. I got something to show you.
You gotta
Yeah.
wait till they turn into adults though, or else you're dealing with a child's psyche forever,
Yeah.
like in Interview with the Vampire. That they
Uh,
in the
yeah,
in the
or Near
movies,
Dark.
Claudia's like 12 or 13. In the books, Claudia is 5.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they turn a 5-year-old into a vampire. You know how dealing with a 5-year-old? I know y'all know.
Mhm.
Imagine
Sure.
a 5-year-old vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No thanks.
Although you also let the right one in, every once in a while, right?
Sure.
A young vampire that just,
But even
helps you
still,
out
I
with all
think
the
she's like
bullies.
12 or 13, right?
Sure.
Like she's still like
Yeah,
a
she's not
teen,
5.
right?
Yeah.
You don't want to deal with like a toddler
No.
vampire. You don't deal with a toddler, period.
Do you know what I just want to add real quick before we go? We talked all this vampire stuff and didn't once mention Sinners, and Sinners is one of the best vampire movies that we've gotten in the last 20 years because I personally fucking love it and think it's great. And I think that, not only does it have great performances, but Jack O'Connell's vampire is fucking phenomenal. It's
Mhm.
up there on the tiered list immediately. So
Right.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Sinners.
How about Dusk Till Dawn?
What
I
about
love
Cliff?
Dusk Till
Classic.
Dawn.
Yeah,
I love
That's
Dusk
one of my
Till Dawn.
favorite movie theater memories because I was only 6 years old. And the trailer, my dad just assumed like, oh, it's gonna be like this little action romp or whatever. Like I've already
Yeah.
seen the Chucky movies. I've already seen, Nightmare on Elm Street. I'd loved Lost Boys at this point. It's like he can handle this.
Mhm.
And I will never forget Quentin Tarantino dialogue, just like absolutely like shocking my dad. Like the Juliette Lewis scene in the hotel, and then as soon as you get to Cheech Marin's whole speech, I just remember him like plugging my ears, like and then the doors open to the titty twister, and now I'm covering my eyes. I always loved telling that story, and I got to meet Juliette Lewis 2 years ago at MegaCon, and I told her that story, and you probably could have heard her at the other end of the MegaCon because she was like, "What?" And so yeah,
That's
that's one of my cherished.
I love From Dusk
dad
Till
stories.
Dawn,
Yeah.
but I hate the fact that every time I mention Sinners in a video, that everybody says that it's just the same thing as From Dusk Till Dawn, and it couldn't be any more far from the truth.
I
That
would
is-
be remiss if I also did not mention, we didn't even mention Bram Stoker.
Mhm.
And I feel like we have to at least mention Bram Stoker and Gary Oldman's performance in that.
Fantastic.
I would say one of my favorite, if not my favorite vampire movie ever. I just don't think it can be beaten the way it was done. Beautiful. It's Coppola, right? So just gorgeous, gorgeous movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, let's end on a slightly different note. I wanted to ask this question to you guys. I'm going to ask it on several of the other episodes, but outside of horror, what would you say are some of your favorite movies of all time? You can name one, you can name two or three if you want, but what comes to mind when somebody says, "Okay, that's cool that you like horror, but give me something non-horror that you consider great"? Chuck, I'll start with you.
I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say, but my favorite movie of all time that's a non-horror movie is Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master, because it's the greatest cult movie ever made, and it has the greatest dual performance between two actors in the history of film. And then next, I would back that up with, I would go The Master, I would go Friedkin's Sorcerer is in my top 5 all time, probably. So that's a great movie. Conversation, Gene Hackman. I love regular movies. I could do a regular movie channel and blow half these nuts on the internet out of the water with my knowledge of that. But yeah, I love The Master. Social Network's in my top 5 too. And that trailer that just came out is terrible.
Yeah, there's finally a
awful.
follow-up to The Social Network. My only issue with Social Network, and you can see this even on your 4K versions, I'm sure. The first scene where there's dialogue between, Mark Zuckerberg's character and his girlfriend at the time, the audio levels are so messed up. You have to either like crank the volume to understand what they're saying, or you have to kind of adjust, your speaker calibration. Otherwise, it gets kind of drowned out. It's the only scene in the entire movie that's like that. But
I didn't have that experience at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you put it on right now on any streaming service or on demand or anything,
I've watched it 100 times in the last year. I've never noticed it.
Yeah. Well, watch it one more time when this wraps up. Just listen to the opening scene.
I will, because I love it. It's a flawless masterpiece. There's
All right.
nothing. That movie's fucking incredible.
All right.
I feel like I'm gonna bunk out on this one, because my favorite movies, they may not necessarily be like the best films, but it's movies I'm just gonna watch it no matter what. If it's on, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
For me, it's gonna be. I mean, Batman Returns is one of my best,
I love that.
most favorite movies ever. I don't care. Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman is like my absolute idol. I mean, I got her sign right here. Love that movie. I will always watch that. Coming a little bit more obscure, but I think you guys grew up in the 80s. You know this one. It's an animated movie from the 80s called The Last Unicorn. I fucking love that movie. It is so weird and creepy, and the soundtrack is done by the band America. It's just wild. Like, if you have not seen it, and this goes for everybody, this is one of those movies that, like, if you partake in garden and then watch that movie, and you're just gonna be like, what the ever loving that I watch? Like, it's one of those. That one, and then I would say, oh gosh, you know what? Since it's Pride Month, I'm gonna say The Birdcage. I love The Birdcage. I love Nathan Lane and Robin Williams' performances in that movie. They are just unmatched, just so good. I'll always watch that one. But one of my top favorite movies that, like, is just like kind of random. I love Cruel Intentions. I love that movie. I think it's fantastic. I'll watch that at any given time. The rest of them on my list are probably all going to be horrors, so it's hard to pick ones that are like not horror.
Yeah. Cruel Intentions is a great soundtrack as well, right? With Bittersweet Symphony coming soundtrack. In.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I love it.
Yeah, very, very powerful movie for sure. Cody, how about you?
Most of my favorite movies of all time aren't horror. For somebody who loves horror and talks horror as much as I do, some people are surprised that I actually branch out outside of that. I don't know if it's just because YouTube and everything niches people down so much that there's a lot of viewers that I think if you talk about one thing, that's your whole world. But yeah, so many films. I mean, Die Hard is my favorite film of all time. Not exactly like an obscure pick, but I just, that movie is everything to me. I can watch it every single year, and I do watch it every single year on Christmas, and we will not debate that.
It's a Christmas movie.
Absolutely. So Die Hard, Terminator 2, very close second. Another one, like Arnold practically was like my second dad growing up. It felt like all of his movies were just like Commando, Total Recall, Kindergarten Cop. Always watched them in between Lost Boys and all that.
What about Twins?
I love Twins. That's my favorite of his comedic ones. Absolutely love Twins. And so you have movies like that. Of course, Goodfellas is really high up there for me. Back to the Future. My favorite movie period to recommend to people for a couple different reasons. One, because it's amazing, and this movie should be hailed way more than it is for how amazing it is. Two, because every single person I recommend it to has never heard of it before. And three, because I've never had a single person that I've had watch it not come back to me and say how amazing it is and thank you. And it's Rudderless. It's a movie
So
by
fucking good.
Yeah, Chuck was one of my victims where I was pushing it on him for like 3 months, and then finally he broke, and he was glad he finally did. But it's a movie by William H. Macy. Same situation as Stakeland, where I only knew about it because of like a quick little YouTube ad. And it came out like in 2013, something like that. Very, very under the radar movie, independent film. And it's got Billy Crudup. It's got Anton Yelchin, rest in peace. William H. Macy plays a bar owner. But it's about this father whose son dies in a school shooting. And his life spirals out of control. Like he's like a big exec, rich guy. And then 2 years later, when the movie really kicks in, he's just living on a boat, just like kind of drifting through life. And he finds these CDs where his son who perished was writing music before he died, and he starts to perform these songs in this local bar that William H. Macy owns, and it inspires Anton Yelchin, who is this very timid, shy, up-and-coming musician, and they start playing this music and become like this big hit in the town, but nobody knows they're not actually his songs. It's an amazing movie with incredible performances.
So
You'll
good.
laugh, you'll cry, it'll rip your heart out of your chest. And it's got, for somebody who's not really into like indie folk music, it's got an amazing soundtrack. And so one of the best things that ever happened in recent years since I've been doing this little content creation journey was at the same Critics' Choice Awards that I keep talking about. William H. Macy was there for Train Dreams, and I got a chance to tell him how much that movie meant to me. And you could tell I might be the only person on earth that have ever walked up to him and brought that movie up, because instantly you felt like his cheekbones and everything just settled, that I talked about that and not one of the other million things that he's done that people bring up all the time. So that was so cool to tell him that.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So
Well,
good.
to stick with the theme that you brought up, Cody, of people in horror loving these other genres, there is a Jason Blum produced film that I consider one of the greatest movies ever made, which is Whiplash.
Oh yeah.
And just phenomenal drama, just the pacing of it and the setup. I don't even want to give anything away, but if you've not seen Whiplash, that's what you need to be watching tonight. I also think it's important to mix up, your genres, where you're not just watching horror back to back, because then it starts to kind of, become one and the same. The jump scares don't quite, have that jump effect. So you got to mix it up. One that I think some people could make the argument as a horror film is called Children of Men. This is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Fucking masterpiece.
I think not enough people have seen this. It's at least 20 years old at this point, right? But a UK-based film in a world where people are struggling to procreate. They don't know why they can't have children anymore. And then Clive Owen's character comes across a woman who somehow has gotten pregnant, and his entire mission now is to protect her and get her to let's say a cruise liner that has scientists on it that are going to figure out, okay, how does she, break through whatever's going on in humanity? What is kind of the secret sauce so that we can have kids again? So Children of Men, incredible, incredible movie. Before I go on from there, any comments on either of those, Whiplash and Children of Men?
Whiplash
Children
is
of-
awesome.
Yeah.
Whiplash is awesome.
Came out around the same time as Rudderless too, so there was like a weird little era there where I moved into my apartment and I was discovering all these amazing like smaller films. But yeah, we and Chuck did a whole episode on Blumhouse, and you'll be shocked if you look back like pre Paranormal Activity, and even some after that, like how many non-horror films Blumhouse had their hands in, because now they're known just for like horror IP, and yeah, you got Whiplash and a few others in there. You're like, really? Blumhouse? Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's so many great ones. I mean, you've brought up Spielberg, so we don't have to even go through that list. But the other one that I've been trying to get some of our Fear Assembly team members to watch is Hustle and Flow. And specifically with Ricky and Amelia, they still have not seen it. I'm like, I know when you'll see it, because you're going to text me 5 minutes after it's over to tell me how it's now in your top 5 all time. So please, for you three, tell me that you've seen, at least one of you has had to have seen Hustle and Flow.
I own Hustle and Flow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not, it will never make my top 5 of all time, but
I've never seen it. Yeah, I'm in the camp of not seeing it, but I'll write
do I
it
think
down.
it's phenomenal,
Mhm.
But Terrence Howard is anything Terrence Howard touches, I love. I think he's an incredible actor. It doesn't get his just due. I like Hustle and Flow, and I like Whiplash. I don't think it's as good as everybody else thinks it is. It's a 4 out of 5. It's solid. But Children of Men is a 10 out of 10 flawless masterpiece.
Mhm.
It's one of the greatest science fiction post-apocalyptic movies ever made.
Mhm. And the other one I want to shout out that I brought up on the past shows is Lord of War with Nicolas Cage, one of my favorite movies. And I
And
had
Jared
no,
Leto's best fucking performance ever.
absolutely. Yeah. And
He killed
Have
it
you
in that
seen his
movie.
Skeletor? Because you might change your mind.
Not yet.
That movie bombed because of him.
Well,
Mm.
I don't know. I think that it bombed because that's just such a weird property where a very specific age group has nostalgia for it. Like, I'm a 90s kid and I've never seen Masters of the Universe played with a single toy. And the movie is like it's nostalgic for people in their 40s, and yet it's tonally completely driven towards kids. It's very good. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it, but yeah, it's a weird one to market.
All right. So as we wrap up here, any other movies that you want to shout out or recommend that people be watching? Any reviews you've
No, I
posted
gotta
lately
go.
on your channels?
Disclosure Day. We'll see what happens.
I'm just excited. Like we're talking about werewolves. I'm excited for Werewolf by Eggers. I'm excited by The Wolf Will Tear Your Immaculate Hands. Both werewolf movies coming out. The only vampire movie that I wrote down that we didn't mention, since I mentioned Jim Carrey, was Once Bitten from the 1980s, and it's a horror comedy
Mm.
about vampires. If you guys haven't seen that and you like 80s movies, give it a watch. It's funny as hell.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's a good one.
Well, thank you all for watching this episode of Fear Assembly. Please like and subscribe and tell us in the comments if there's any topics that you want to hear us discuss. So thank you for joining, and we'll talk soon.